this video, I'm sharing 5 steps that you can take to master any chord on the guitar. Welcome back to Relax Learn Guitar. Maggie is really anxious to get these treats. I'm Kevin and my wife Vicky's behind the camera.
Hello.
Let's get started on this lesson. Step number 1, and there's no two ways around it, it's memorizing the chord shapes. We're going to kind of use the E chord as our example in today's lesson. So for these guitar chords, it's really, well, maybe not so much memorizing each chord. You can definitely use chord charts to kind of jog your memory, especially as we get older. But it's really, the more chords you learn and the more you play the guitar, you'll learn and see that many of these shapes repeat over and over in different parts of the guitar neck. So for this E chord, I mean, step number 1 is going to be memorize that chord shape and memorize what it kind of looks like. You can only do one thing at a time. We might try and fool ourselves that we can do multiple things, but it's really kind of one thing at a time. So I'm really kind of taking a much further step back and looking at these steps to take. And that first one being memorizing the shape. Do one chord at a time and take it slow. And then move to the next chord. And this will work for anything you can open, you might want to start with the open guitar chords. If you'd like a lesson on the first 8 chords you should learn playing the guitar, along with getting the chord charts for those, check out the link in the description below. So memorizing that shape is step number 1. Kind of sub-step is taking it slow. Maybe starting with those open chords and moving on to more complicated chords later. Step number 2 is really paying attention to your thumb placement and arching your fingers. Those are the 2 things I see most folks struggle with, and that's what I struggle with the most too when I'm learning something new as far as a chord shape. So we're going to really pay attention to where that thumb is, and depending on the shape of your hand, like you'll see my thumb kind of sticking over, but when you're starting out, you really want to make sure that you are giving yourself some nice pressure and putting your thumb here on the back of the neck, and not like a hangover, kind of like like holding a guitar or holding a baseball bat or something. You are using that thumb to get some leverage and some pressure. So when I'm playing this E chord, my thumb is kind of here on the neck, so I can push my other fingers into the fretboard. One thing I like to tell folks to pay attention to with their finger placement is the pencil trick. And this is something that, like, literally my guitar teacher showed me this when I was like 14. And I'm like, it's those little things that really make a difference. So when you're playing this, if you play along with me and play this E chord, you should be able to take a pencil or a pen and place that in there. And you should be able to hold that and still get the strings to ring out. When they don't, that's kind of step number 3, is to then pay attention to what doesn't sound right. Like if you're getting some muting or some buzz, and this pencil trick can kind of be a good first step to that. So step number 3, when you do, which you will, we all do, you're going to find things like, you're going to hear muted strings, you might hear some fret buzz. So in addition to once you've kind of got that shape memorized and you're paying attention to your finger placement and your thumb placement, arching those fingers nicely, you want to pick each individual string of the chord. And that's so when you come across things like that, you can, my ring finger there is kind of resting too close and touching that 3rd string, so you're going to want to make those corrections. Or if you're getting too much buzz, oftentimes you might be playing too close to the actual fret wire, like maybe right on top of it, or maybe too far back. So you want to get your fingers as close to that fret wire as you can.
And not touch it.
Yeah, you don't want to touch it, but you want to be close, because the closer you are, the less pressure you need to push down into the fretboard. And the closer you are, there's that sweet spot where you're going to get that sound, but you're not going to buzz or mute. So step 3 is pick each individual string and find your issues to correct. Step number 4 is finally strum the chord. You do this, I like the pick, strum, pick. And what you're doing there is you are training your ear to hear what that E chord is supposed to sound like. Or the G chord, or the bar chord, whatever it is. So strum that chord so you can learn to hear what a good, clean chord sounds like. And then step number 5 is to practice changing the chords. So I mentioned kind of starting out with those open chords or things a little more simple. You want to maybe start with 2 chords actually. Or one, start with 1, and then find another chord to then change to. So you're going to start with 2 chords to alternate between, and you're doing the same thing. You're picking, strum, pick. Maybe change that to an A. You're going to pick it. Uh-oh, we've got some things to correct here. Gonna move that back a little bit, arch that ring finger a little more, and then back to the E. One little trick I like to do is to play the strings, pick the strings, strum it, take my hand completely off of my guitar, tap the guitar, tap your knee or whatever, tap the table, and then go back to that chord. I've got another lesson here for you to check out with some more tips on how you can do some pretty easy things that you can incorporate into your practice to make those chord changes happen faster and cleaner. Check that one out next here. The repetition really is the key here, guys, especially as we get older and things don't stick as well. So just kind of repeating it, make this part of your daily practice routine, and you will see some major changes. Vicki and Maggie and I would like to thank you for watching today. Remember that you're never too old to learn, and we'll see you guys for the next one.
Take care.